everybody. So this is really fun. We are here to talk about our next episode of the Talking Doctor Who podcast. And we are going to be talking about season 1, episode 4, 5, 6, and 7. So woo, holy cow, 4 episodes. Jonathan's here with me to talk about it.
Hey.
Yeah, so let's just dive in, okay? So we're going to talk about 4 and 5 kind of together because they're two-parter. And these are called Aliens of London and World War III. Why don't you explain a little bit kind of what happens in this episode, the basic premise?
Well, the basic premise is that Rose and the Doctor come back for a visit, and she has been told that she's only been gone about 12 hours. She's been gone a few days, but he wanted to travel her back so it wouldn't seem like she'd been gone that long.
Mm-hmm.
However, he gets the time wrong, and she ends up there a year after she left. So by this time, everybody thinks she's either run off or she's dead. So there's that whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, a spaceship crashes into Big Ben and into the Thames. So then there's a whole uproar in the city about these aliens have landed. We got to figure out what's going on. And the Doctor is trying to investigate, but he's hampered by the fact that he doesn't want to take his TARDIS right into the middle of things and stir up even more controversy.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, Rose is trying to smooth things out with her family. Things aren't going very well. Mickey was apparently accused of her murder because he was the last person that was seen with her.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't tell anybody what happened because she flew away in a time-traveling space box. And that's going to sound insane to people, and he's going to be looked at as even more crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, at least in the first episode, the main thing is trying to figure out what happened, who crashed, why did they crash, and what the government is doing, because there's some suspicious activity going on in the government as well.
Yeah, and I thought that all of that stuff with her mom and Mickey and everything, that was my favorite part of the episode. I really, well, that, and we'll talk about the MP Harriet Jones. We'll talk about that. But I like that. I thought that was good. I thought that I don't know, you saw a human side to the Doctor where he, had to kind of apologize and had to try to kind of fit in a little bit with her family a little bit. And I just liked that. I thought that was all, it felt genuine. I think particularly the response of her mother, freaking out the way it does. I like that woman who plays her mother. I think she's pretty good.
Yeah. I think her name is Camille Coduri.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Something close to that.
They look like they could be mother-daughter, I think.
Yeah. She's a great actress. I really like her. She's one of my favorite. I mean, I love Rose, but she's one of my favorite parts about Rose being a companion is when they come back home to her, because I really like her.
Yeah. She's funny, but she's not annoying. That part could get annoying real quick, but she straddles that line, I think, really well. Yeah. And so okay, well, so they end up at the Downing Street, where the government is.
Downing Street. I think I'm not sure exactly what happens there, but I know that's
where the Prime Minister
similar to the White House, maybe. Yeah. I need to brush up more on my European politics, I think, but I know it's an important building over there.
I don't think that the Prime Minister lives there. I could be wrong. I have no idea, but I know that's where he works.
There.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and so they end up there, and at first you think there's this weird, the Prime Minister is gone, and there's this weird sugar man who is given power because everybody else has been killed or is missing or whatever, I don't know. But then pretty quickly you figure out that these people there are the aliens. They're not humans. And they are called the Slitheen, correct?
Slitheen, yes.
Slitheen.
So that is not their species name. That's their family name.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The species I actually have this memorized. It's one of like the longest names in Doctor Who, but they're from Raxacoricofallapatorius.
Holy mow.
I've seen this episode so many times that I have that down, and I even have the name of the female alien down. Her name is Blonfelfach Passemer Day Slovene.
Holy cow. Look at that. Wow.
I've seen these episodes a lot, so I have those memorized. It's like such random words, but somehow they've stuck in my head.
Yeah. So you're a big fan of these aliens?
Mostly. I have some issues with them, but mostly I like them.
So these aliens, first of all, they're definitely like supposed to be like goofy, silly aliens. Like they or whatever, but they're also like mean at the same time. But they're definitely supposed to be like funny, and that like I feel. This is no insult because I know you like this, but to me, it feels a little bit like an 11-year-old wrote these aliens because there's just like so many like fart jokes and so many like.
That is my problem with it. I don't like the fart jokes.
I don't either.
There's just like it goes over the top way too much. It's like, why was this necessary? It's not like integral to the plot, really. I don't know. It's just
like I don't know. It's just not my thing. There was just something about them that was annoying to me. I'm like, oh, stop, just stop. I can't explain it. I just thought they were annoying. The way they talked,
and I can see why that would get really annoying.
The way they would like look at you, and the way that I don't know. There was just something that was
the
like
way they giggled to themselves was kind of annoying too.
Yeah. It's sort of like there's a certain kind of villain that I tend to get annoyed with, like I think they're called the Guggens or whatever on Pete's Dragon. Oh my gosh, they're so annoying. And the original Pete's Dragon. Those kind of characters that are sort of like hillbillies and like look how uncivilized I am. Like I usually don't think that's funny. That's just me. Plus, like, you really want to get kind of like immersed in like the danger of what's happening, and it's hard when you like get that kind of momentum interrupted by a fart joke.
Yes, yeah.
Right? It's sort of like Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
They were a little Jar Jar Binksy-ish.
I can see that. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I like them better than Jar Jar Binks, but yeah.
I do too. I mean, you could say that for most things. I like most things better than Jar Jar Binks, but it's the same kind of idea. Like, you really want to get immersed in this, like, war and this, like, all this intense stuff that's happening, and then you've got, like, Jar Jar over there making, like, farty noises and stuff, and it's just, like, hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yes, I totally agree.
So,
like I said, I like this episode. I do like this Levine, but there are things about them, especially the fart jokes, that annoy me, and I wish they could have done without that. Oh,
good. We're on the same page then. This is for the as far as that. That's good. That's very good. So, and there was sort of the tense scene when they're all in that room, all the leaders, and they're all kind of just like waiting to get, what's going to happen. And the doctor's even like, you definitely get a sense of the doctor being in real peril. And I mean, obviously, like, the show has to go on, but I think there are times, so he's not really going to die. Like, we get that, but it's just first season. But I think that they do a good job sometimes on Doctor Who, despite all of that, creating a sense of peril for the doctor and creating pretty tense situations where you're like, we know he's going to get out of this situation. How is he going to get out of this situation?
Mm-hmm.
And like, you don't know how he's going to get out of the situation.
Yeah, that happens semi-frequently.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he's able to work with Mickey to like get them to fire on Downing Street. And yeah. So let's talk about MP Harriet Jones.
She's probably my favorite part of these episodes. I just love her.
Definitely, yeah.
I love Penelope Wilton, who plays her.
Yes.
She's the greatest. She does come back to Doctor Who later on, and she's just, every time I see her, I love her. And this is off topic, but I loved that she was the queen in the BFG, because I went to see that with my cousins, and I was like, "That's Harriet Jones MP."
Maybe she
Like,
likes stuff with like flatulence humor because there's a lot in that movie too.
I didn't even think about that, but that's true.
That's
guess
slightly better pulled off there than here.
that's true. Maybe she's the reason why. I think she is the reason why it doesn't annoy me as much, is because she's there. And
Yeah.
I don't know, she makes it better, I guess.
Yeah. She is amazing. I love her too. Whenever you can get a dame on board, anything, it's usually good boost for your project. You can get a dame on board. And she is one, and she is great. And she is on Downton Abbey, and she was one of the best parts of that show. If you ever watched that show,
I've been recommended it so many times. I haven't gotten to it. I need to get to it. I will get to it.
Especially first 2 seasons. I still enjoyed it all the way throughout, but I mean, she is right up there with shoot, what's her name? She holds her own, and she plays Matthew Crawley's mother, and she's supposed to be sort of the middle class kind of which is ridiculous because she still, lives in all this luxury, but like compared to the Crowley family, she is she is much more middle class. Like the fact that her son has like a job and things like that, and she is often put up as the counterbalance to Maggie Smith, who's amazing, of course, another dame. Maggie Smith and her are like rivals basically throughout the show, and the two of them are so good in any scene that they're in. So she's a great actress. Anyone knows, tell us a little bit about her character.
Well, she's the MP for Flydale North, which, as far as I can tell, is a fictional county or township. I don't think it really exists, because I actually Googled Flydale and nothing came up except tons of Doctor Who pages. So I don't think it exists. But basically, she's there on some minuscule government business, and she can't get into anywhere because of this alien attack has happened. And she eventually is left alone in the building, and she wanders in and finds these plans, the
aliens' plans, right?
Well, no, it's government papers. It's basically what protocols that they're supposed to follow in the case of an emergency.
Oh, right. Oh.
So she's looking through these, and she's interrupted by all the government people coming back in. So she doesn't want to get caught looking at these confidential documents, of course. So she hides in the closet, where she discovers that they are actually the aliens, because they unzip their foreheads and peel off their human suits. And she's basically the key to all this, because the Doctor and Rose show up later, and she takes Rose off and explains everything that's going on, and then the three of them end up having to work together to defeat the aliens. Because eventually the aliens get what they want. What they want is for the humans to declare nuclear war and basically nuke themselves. Because
why do they want that?
The Slitheen are basically a crime family. So not everyone from Raxacoricophalopatorius is like the Slitheen. They probably look like the Slitheen, but I don't think they all kill people. They don't all wear the human suits. They basically, the Slitheen, they're out to make a buck. And what they want is to have the Earth kind of melted down, and they can sell off the slag for fuel. So basically, they want to turn the Earth into fuel that they can sell around the universe.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's their basic plan. Get the humans to nuke themselves, and then they can sell off the Earth bit by bit. Okay.
I wasn't sure about that. I got a little confused with what their motivations were. Okay. And so basically they're gonna like kill they want the government to kill everybody for them, basically, with these nuclear weapons.
Yes. That they won't have to do anything themselves. That was their plan. They want people to kill themselves off, and they'll take everything once everybody's gone.
Okay. And so the Doctor kind of he gets Mickey to fire a non-nuclear missile at Downing Street to destroy them.
Yeah. Yes.
in the end, right?
Yes. The doctor had, I'm pretty sure it was UNIT's website. UNIT is a government agency that I don't think it's strictly UK. And it's fictional. It's not a real agency. It's basically Doctor Who's, I don't know, alien CIA type people. They monitor alien activity. I think they might be based in the UK. I don't there, but I think they're around the world as well.
Mm.
He has Mickey get into their website and figure out based on what's there what they can do, and they blow up 10 Downing Street to kill the aliens before the aliens can nuke the world or get other people to nuke the world for them.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, so yeah, so these are interesting episodes. What 1 to 10, what would you rank both these as a combined kind of unit?
It's kind of hard because I love these episodes, but there are parts of it that I really don't like.
Mm-hmm.
But like Penelope Wilton brings it all back. So I think I'm probably going to give it an 8. Give them together an 8.
I probably give them a 6. I wasn't bored. I was, as far as things, but yeah, so I wouldn't give it below 5 because that would be one I like actively didn't like. But yeah, I remember texting to you like, I'm not liking these aliens. Like,
yeah, and I get it because I am annoyed with aspects of them too. But I like their design. I like the actor. I mean, I like the actor who plays Blonde. I'm not too big on the other ones, but I liked her, and I like Penelope Wilton. So everything is brought back up to even out what I really dislike.
Yeah, I can understand that. Totally can. Okay, so let's talk about number 6. This is Dalek. So this is only the second episode I've ever seen with a Dalek in it. But there was only, the one from season 10 was very brief. It was only for like a minute.
Yeah. Well, as you can tell from having watched season 10, even though this is supposedly the last Dalek in existence, it's not really.
Right.
He'll be back.
So
just at this point, you're supposed to believe that this is the last Dalek in existence.
Yeah. So this is my favorite of the 4, I have to say, for sure, by a lot, actually. And so this one, they are in Salt Lake, woo-woo, and which I don't know why they picked Salt Lake. I don't quite understand it.
I don't know,
anyway.
They were underground for the whole thing.
I know.
It really could have been anywhere. I think they probably just threw a dart at the map. And were like, oh, well, it landed on Salt Lake City. We'll set it there.
The only thing I can figure is that there is the LDS Church has a like kind of a bunker where they store all of, like, it's actually in a mountain that they store like artifacts and stuff like that. Like there's some of the original, like, because it controls temperature and whatever. And so that's the only thing that I can figure out, is that maybe they're kind of going off of that, but there's no alien artifacts that I'm aware of, but who knows? Who knows? And so anyway, but it was kind of fun. But I enjoyed this one a lot. Basically, like, the idea is that the TARDIS takes them to this to Salt Lake, under this underground bunker. There's this man, Henry Van Staten, who is this like rich collector guy, and he has all of these artifacts from all these different aliens. It's sort of like his own little like Roswell collection, basically. And he has a Dalek, and and the Doctor is like horrified about this, that he has one. And it's supposed to be the one that survived all the war or whatever. That's this last survivor. And what happens is that Rose feels sorry for the Dalek, and she puts her hand on it, and it brings him or her, I don't know, Daleks have a sex, but anyway, brings it to life, and kind of back to life. And he actually like absorbs Rose's DNA. And then they set out to, the Dalek sets out to basically kill everyone. And it like, why did the Daleks want to kill everybody? Why it's just their programming, or they have some reason?
Basically, they're supposed to be an analogy for Nazis. Like, they were written Like they were first
Oh.
written not long after the defeat of the Nazis. Like it was like maybe 20 years
I would never have thought
20
Nazi
later.
with Dalek. Huh, interesting.
They're basically space Nazis.
Hmm.
They don't like anyone who is not like them. They only want Daleks to be the only race in existence.
Yeah. But there's nothing specific to humans then that they are
No,
against.
it wouldn't matter what planet this was on. The Daleks would behave exactly the same. They want to kill everyone who is not a Dalek.
Interesting. Okay.
And
Yeah.
basically, you'll kind of get this in more in detail later. It basically all comes down to who created the Daleks, because the Daleks were like genetically engineered by a madman, and you'll find out more about him later. And he's featured more heavily in the old series, so I guess a lot of his backstory is in the old series, but he'll come up again later on in the series as well.
Do they always absorb DNA of people
No,
like this?
I'm not. That part always confused me a little bit. I think it was just sort of a Deus Ex Machina, maybe, because they needed the Dalek to be dormant until the Doctor and Rose got there. Basically, they just said because Rose had traveled through time, there was something about her DNA that would help the Dalek regenerate inside of his little tank body. I don't know. It was just kind of a handy little writing tool to get them out of this situation they put themselves, I think.
So
it doesn't happen again, I don't think.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting because it was interesting that to see sort of her energy kind of get absorbed, but at the same time he still like wants to kill, and that combination was sort of interesting to see. And I guess like I've learned, as far as again my somewhat limited experience, but I feel like with Doctor Who, I really like the ones that feel very horror influenced. Like the one with the tree from season 10, or the tree people, or and that one had a very horror feel. That was very fun. And I really like the old ones where they go back in time. Those are my favorite by far. And so this one to me had those horror elements that were fun to me. They're getting chased. There's tension. They're in a lot of times really small, cramped environments that, you've got this evil hunting them down kind of a thing. And so I thought it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Doctor Who does small, cramped environments well. They do. That used to be like a main staple on the show back in the day, because they made the show really on the cheap. You can tell that through a lot of the special effects, but they set a lot of episodes in underground bunkers or caves, places where they didn't have to do a whole lot of detail and they could reuse sets. But it really does add to the atmosphere of the show.
Yeah, it creates believable tension. Like, what is the Doctor going to do? How's he going to get out of this? And there's also this kid named Adam, who works for Van Statten.
He's employed by Van Statten because he apparently was a child prodigy, and Van Statten wants to use him to figure out what all this alien tech is that he's got, that he keeps collecting from various places.
Is he just in the next 2 episodes, or just just these 2 episodes, or is he in others?
Nope, there's only 2 episodes. He was meant to show basically that the Doctor might actually take people with him that aren't the greatest, and he was the first companion, because they call him a companion like in official places. He's the first companion ever to be kicked out of the TARDIS for bad behavior. But we'll get to that in the next episode.
So, but in this one, he's just kind of along for the ride, really.
Yeah, and technically he is in the next one too. He just makes a series of very stupid decisions.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And so, yeah, you basically, I liked the idea of sort of Rose's humanity impacting the Dalek. And you get that moment where they actually open it up and you see the creature inside. And
yeah, this isn't the first episode where they toy with Daleks acquiring human emotions in some way, but I think this is probably the best one that they do that in, because it happens again in another season in a different way, completely different way. But I'm not the biggest fan of that episode.
Mhm.
So this one is probably my favorite of the way that they toy with
Yeah.
the Daleks acquiring some form of morality.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Dalek really does take out a lot here. It's sort of very like sort of Star Trek-y in the sense that like the red shirts just like it's nobody that you really care about. It's nobody that you really, but like there's quite a bit of
Mhm.
carnage.
Thankfully, it's all like bloodless, goreless. It's
Yeah.
just they're zapped and then they fall over.
Right.
Which
Right.
if we're gonna have like insane amounts of violence, I would prefer it to be that. I don't like blood and gore. I
Agreed.
prefer Doctor Who does that well, having like bloodless death.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. So anyway, yeah, this is one that I really enjoyed. I would give this one, I don't know, like an 8.5. I really liked it. I thought it was good.
I should probably explain this, but I'm actually not the hugest fan of this episode. I would give it a 7 because I do like a lot about it. But there's a whole bunch of people in this episode that I think are terrible actors.
Mm.
And maybe they're not actually terrible actors, but I haven't looked everybody up, but I'm 99% sure that almost everybody in this episode is British putting on an American accent.
Yeah, that's very true.
They're
Agreed.
doing a very good job. Especially the one guy. I wrote down his quote. Let me see. He says, "Thank you, Doctor, but I think I know how to fight one single tin robot." His delivery on that line just makes me cringe and groan the entire time.
That's true. That's true. He was pretty bad.
When I cut together my episode, I'm probably going to put a clip in here just so that people can see how awful his delivery is. It's so bad. It just...
Yeah.
If Penelope Wilton brought the last one up, that single line brings this episode down. I just hate it so much.
Yeah, that's true.
Where people seem to be mispronouncing things or saying things with just, they don't sound American, and that really bothers me.
Okay.
Like, there are English actors who can do American accents very well, but I don't think any of them were in this episode.
Maybe it's just I liked this one way better than the other three, and so maybe that's why it felt elevated. But you're right, that is an issue for sure. The acting isn't great. I'll go to an 8. I'll give it 8 out of 10 because I was really entertained by it. I thought it was fun, and so it gives you a hint what I thought of the long game. So okay, I have a confession. I'm not a big fan of futuristic sci-fi stuff like this. I've seen enough like Star Trek and Doctor Who and other stuff that, I don't know, 9 times out of 10, I find it very boring. And it's crazy because they're creating all of this like futuristic stuff. Shouldn't that be like really exciting and really like amazing? And it's so creative. I don't know. Like for some reason, it just doesn't engage me. And like there are exceptions to the rule. Like I love Wall-E, I guess would be sort of an exception to the rule, but that like engages me emotionally. And like I feel like a lot of times with this sort of futuristic sci-fi, like Blade Runner, I respect it, I admire it, but I find it very boring. That episode very boring. I just was like, oh, and and I didn't really like the one with the stretched out lady. That one it's just not my thing. But I like the horror ones, and I really like the going back in time ones. So,
well, I actually really like this episode. I like the futuristic ones.
Yeah, no, like and many people do, but I don't know. It just was like I just feel like I've tried so many times, and there are exceptions to the rule, but like it's so interesting to me because a lot of people find a movie like Interstellar to be super boring. But I actually really liked it because I was emotionally invested in Murphy and her dad's story and their relationship as a family. And so I was motivated and I found it moving. But a lot of times with this futuristic sci-fi, they forget that kind of element to me. Does that make sense at all? Like what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
If this episode had been done with people I didn't like. I probably wouldn't like it that much, but I like the Doctor and Rose. And I thought that some of the ideas that they came up with for how the society had been built were good ideas.
Very creative. And it's the same way with Blade Runner. Blade Runner is super creative and super beautiful and amazing and an accomplishment, achievement, both new and old Blade Runner. But just not my favorite. But anyway, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because there's a lot to talk about and a lot of good things. I just, in the end, kind of found it boring. But let's talk about it. So this, you have the Doctor, Rose, and Adam going to the year 200,000. And so why don't you explain a little bit what they find there?
So they get to the year 200,000, and basically the Doctor is expecting what he refers to as the fourth great and bountiful human empire. Mm-hmm. Basically, humanity is supposed to be at a peak. Like, they've reached out to hundreds of other alien worlds. They've made contact. It's basically, he's expecting something, not quite a utopia, but something like a really great place. But they land on this space station and find out that there are no aliens. The humans are basically kind of sequestered off. And there's something weird going on in this space station. It's basically a news station. They call it Satellite 5. They transmit news all around the world. And the technology that they use is, he calls it wrong. It's not what it's supposed to be. Plus, it just seems really weird. They're using people as computers. They're funneling all the information through people's brains, so the brains are processing information and then sending it through the satellite instead of using actual computers. Basically, he thinks that something has gone wrong with history because this is not what he expected to find. And the main crux of the episode is he needs to figure out who has been meddling with history, why has humanity become this, and basically what happened to create this world that shouldn't exist.
Yeah. So, like, it's interesting because basically there's these different levels, these different floors, and they're told different things about each level, about the life that they can lead and what they can do, and these humans are told that if they are exemplary, if they do an extra good job being these computers or whatever, that then they'll get to go up to this special floor.
Floor 500, where apparently the walls are made of gold. And apparently that's a good enough reason for everybody to really want that promotion. That doesn't really seem to appeal to me. I'm like, why would you want to work in a place just because the walls are made of gold? I think I would get hard on the eyes after a while. It would be too shiny.
Yeah, maybe it's kind of like the sort of the whole immigrant idea of like the streets are made of gold, and kind of like it's sort of like an easy way to kind of sell that it's like super luxurious or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, it could super be nice.
It just didn't seem like that big of a draw to me.
It's the it's like it's the madness of crowds and the psychology of lines or something like that. It's really interesting, the sociology of it. But anyway, and so like that may be part of it too, is that it's just like this promotion is there and everybody else is getting it, and then you never see them again. And
that to me would be a huge red flag. Like he said, you people are journalists. Why is this not ringing any bells for people? You go to floor 500 and then they never see you again.
But they're not really journalists. They're journalists in the sense that they're more like researchers.
Yeah, kind of. But
yeah,
still, even a normal person, if you've heard about a place where you got a promotion and then nobody ever saw you again,
yeah,
why would you want that promotion?
Well, so you get up to the floor 500, and Simon Pegg is there as the editor, and which was interesting to see him. Like, Simon Pegg is like Mr. Franchise. He's been in Star Wars. He's been in Star Trek. He's been in Doctor Who. He's been in like everything.
Yeah.
He needs to like just be in he needs to be in a Batman movie and a Marvel movie, and he's got like everything.
Yeah, apparently he was supposed to apparently have gotten a different part. He was supposed to have like a bigger part of the series. They originally wanted him to play Rose's dad, apparently,
Oh.
because I'm sure you saw the preview for next week. Rose's dad shows up, but he wasn't available during that block of shooting, so they gave him this part instead.
He doesn't seem old enough to be Rose's dad. To me.
I don't know.
Right? Who knows? Okay. Anyway, so he's the editor. And like, why is it so cold up there?
Because the Jagrafess is on the ceiling, and the Jagrafess
Needs it
will
cold.
die if it gets too hot. Like you saw at the
Oh, right.
skipping towards the end, they shut down the cooling system. The Jagrafess overheated and exploded. So the Jagrafess will die if it's not cold enough.
And how did the Jagrafess get there? It's
I don't
just
know.
like
That's one of the things that I don't think is explained very well. Like, who did he? They say he was installed. He couldn't have installed himself. Why would humans intentionally install this thing that is planning on manipulating the human race?
I have no idea.
I didn't understand that part. While I did like this episode, I feel like the Jagrafess needed more backstory. And where did he come from? What is his race like? He's just this big lump of flesh with teeth.
Yeah.
What? Why? I don't really understand the Jagrafess very much.
No. And like, so basically, like, the editor his job is to help the news people create propaganda. That's what his job is.
Yeah.
To keep
And
them
watch
like,
the Jagrafess, because the Jagrafess is helpless to do anything by himself.
right. And keeping everything so imbalanced. And so yeah, so they need the humans to continue to process all of this news. And that's keeps it's this balance between the processing and the Jagrafest and everything, right?
Yeah, sort of.
Yes. Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
It gets a little confusing because I want to know more about why the Jagrafess is there, and it's not really explained very well.
Right. It's not.
I think I would understand more if I got more backstory.
Yeah. And then you have Adam getting up to all kinds of mischief. So he is like not happy on the floor with the journalists. And so he goes and he wants to like go to the viewing area or whatever. And he leaves, which is never a good idea. Never leave the doctor.
Yeah.
Unless you absolutely have to. And so he goes wandering around on this space thing. And also, like, Rose has a phone now.
The doctor upgraded her phone in the second episode.
Yes. So
and
this is
basically it can call back in time.
Yes. So this is a very good phone plan that she has.
Yeah, really.
Very good my minutes and everything. But yeah, so she has a phone. And is this something that's in a lot of episodes? Because I don't remember it in season 10, anybody having a phone.
I feel like he upgrades the next companion's phone too, but it's kind of a plot point that's sort of done away with, I think, because I don't remember too many calls home after the first season, really.
Yeah. So anyway, Adam goes off and he's pretty dumb. Let's be honest. This guy's
he's really stupid.
He is not the sharpest tool in the shed. So not only does he leave the doctor, but he goes and he puts his hands on the. If I'm on some crazy station like that, I'm not putting my hands anywhere. He puts his hands on there and he gets this like jolt of information, and it's very exciting, very, very cool. And so he decides to have a chip installed in his head, and then he's going to call back home and tell them everything, all the technology on the answer machine. And like, you just shouldn't have things put in your head. Like, that's just not a good thing to do.
When I know the doctor meant, when he said that this technology is wrong, I know he meant it as it shouldn't exist in the history that he knows. but also it just seems wrong to have people literally opening up their heads to funnel information directly into their brain.
Right.
So I don't understand why Adam thought that this was a good idea. I'm pretty sure he had plans of making himself rich by taking future knowledge to the past. But if that's going to involve opening your head, literally, that's just a stupid idea. Don't do it.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, you don't want anything in your head because you want to leave. Like, then you got this alien chip thing in your head. Like, no. Mm-hmm. Bad idea. Very bad idea, but he does it anyway. And and it like actually like cracks open his head, and so there's like a port kind of.
Yeah, basically. It's sort of, I don't know, a USB port without the USB. Yeah. It's just like information goes directly in the hole.
Yeah.
It seems like a terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah. Which is weird because this whole world is sort of based on information, but it's all propaganda. It's a strange thing. Like, they need all these people to process information, but it's not real information. So, like, I don't know. It's sort of a strange setup. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, basically, like, in the end, they're able to get they're able to kill the editor and the Jagerfrost through heat, like you said, and they're able to direct onto them, and they're able to escape. And the last like kind of thing is you see the doctor destroying the answer machine and saying like, you're an idiot. And he basically has to have this weird thing in his head the rest of his life.
Yeah, which is now useless because he doesn't live in the future where that is used.
Right. Yeah. So, and he is definitely banned from the TARDIS. He's done. We never see him again, I guess.
I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but I kind of want an episode to revisit him, like, just to find out what he's been doing the last 10 years. Like, what became of his life.
Yeah, it could be a good party trick. I mean, you got this thing in your head.
That would be a really weird party trick. You would freak a lot of people out.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very creative. This whole station and the floors and the whole, I don't know, it's very, very creative, but I don't know, for whatever reason, I was just like, oh, so boring. So I don't know. I want to give this one like, give this one a 5. I really didn't like it. It wasn't for me. Why would you give it?
I probably would give it an 8 because for all its flaws, I actually did like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know why. I like this episode. I like the creativity. I like the setting. I like the characters. Mm-hmm. I really like Cass and Suki. I mean, Suki dies right away, but I liked her while she was there. And I liked Cass. So
yeah, she's pretty good.
I don't know.
Maybe 5 is too harsh. Maybe I don't know, but I don't know. I was just like, I just felt like it was never going to end. It just felt really long to me. But I guess.
And even though I didn't really understand the Jagerfess or his purpose, I did kind of like the idea. I liked the Jagerfess as an idea. I want more information. I want to know where he came from, why he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there to manipulate the human race, but like, why?
Yeah. Fine, I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6 because I recognize that it's just maybe not my taste, but it has good things about it. But yeah, so it's interesting. I think it says something about the show that like it can please so many different people. Like, I really liked the Dalek one. You weren't as big a fan of it. I know other people don't really like the ones that go back in time. I love those ones. And so hopefully the show kind of has something for everyone.
It actually does, because Doctor Who is one of those shows that it changes every episode. Like, every episode is a new, completely different idea.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
very
you're
true.
gathering that from the ones you've seen, but it's
Yes.
always different. If you don't like this episode, just wait for the next one because it'll be something totally different. You can see if you like that one.
Right, right. Okay, great. Well, we will try. We're not 100% sure we will meet every single week, especially coming up on these holidays. But we will try, and we will get together either doing 3 or 4, depends on how they couple up and stuff, and we'll let you all know. But let us know in the comment section what you think of these 4 episodes, what rating you would give them, and if you think we're out of our minds or you agree with us, or what do you think about these 4 episodes, please let us know. And please like, subscribe. We're on iTunes. You can follow us at Rachel's Reviews. Please do. We'd really appreciate your feedback on there. And yeah, so where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at John J. North and my YouTube channel. Those are the best places to find me online.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, and you can find me at Smiling LDS Girl on social media, and like I said, at Rachel's Reviews on iTunes and YouTube. So make sure to check that out. And yeah, so it should be pretty fun. And thanks so much. And we will talk again soon.
Okay, I'll see you next time.